Hello, welcome to this year's ANCOR conference and to the DSP of the Year Awards. I'm Maria Samot, Senior Vice President of Content Development at RALEIGH. I'm so delighted to congratulate those we are here to honor today. We realize at RALEIGH that our role in bettering the lives of people with disabilities comes down to how well we can empower those doing the real work that matters most. That's why our mission has always been focused on helping the most vulnerable people in society and those who serve them. Those who serve the most vulnerable. Direct support professionals, that means you. You'd be hard-pressed to find another industry where the majority of outcomes, be they clinical, personal, or other, are so clearly and absolutely driven by what you do, the work of the DSP. For the individuals you support, those positive outcomes are the direct result of your efforts, your communication, your dedication, your flexibility, your sense of humor, your compassion, and your willingness to return day after day to the business of improving and enhancing the ability for others to live their best lives. You are where positive change happens. Your example motivates everything we do in the field of intellectual and developmental disabilities. For the more than 800 RALEIGHians standing with me, I'm proud to say to all of you, and especially to today's honorees, thank you and congratulations.
Hi, my name is Kate McNulty, and I'm the Director of Business Development for ANCOR. And it is my honor and great pleasure to kick off the presentation of the 2021 Direct Support Professional of the Year Award. Anyone who has ever been in our field for any length of time knows that when it comes right down to it, being a direct support professional is all about community inclusions. Without DSPs, people with intellectual and developmental disabilities would not have the same opportunities to live, work, play, and thrive in the community. Take it from a DSP in my home state, North Carolina. North Carolina's DSP of the Year, Dennis Rivera from Dungarvin. Dennis understands that connecting to others in the community is critical for all of us, which is why he started a bowling group 12 years ago, in which 8 to 12 of the individuals supported by his agencies go out once a week and can invite anyone, friends, family members, and even other DSPs to go along. It's also why Dennis volunteers his time with a local drama group for individuals with IDD and has given several of the individuals he supports the opportunities to perform in annual productions. How cool. Way to go, Dennis. Thank you so much. So Alaska DSP of the Year Award, Jessi Walton from BRIGHTSPRING Health Services adopts a similar philosophy, fully understanding the power of building connections in the community. To help the people she supports, she takes them to weekly swimming and taekwondo classes where they can hone new skills together alongside people without disabilities and in a community setting. At Jessi's nominator shared, one of the women Jessi supports has discovered that participation in structured activities like these each week has improved her overall quality of life and has allowed her to socialize and explore meaningful friendships in the community. Thank you, Jessi, for all you do. We sure appreciate you. What these outstanding DSPs realize is that being included in the community isn't just about having somewhere fun to go. It's also about having the skills to navigate the community. Someone who can attest to that is a man supported by Michael Anderson, the 2021 District of Columbia DSP of the Year from RCM. He had a goal of using a map to navigate the city. So Michael supported him to plan trips around town in advance using the maps of the DC Metro system to identify where he wanted to go and how he would get there. Once at their destination, Michael would encourage this man to select another unplanned location so he'd get comfortable being more spontaneous. Over time, that empowered him to broaden his goal, and now he plans to visit other states, including how he'll get there and what he'll do once he arrives. Clearly, Michael inspires not just the people he supports, but all of us. Thank you so much, Michael. Just like the community inclusion demands certain skills, it also demands navigating challenges, some of which can be significant. One young lady, supported by MOSAIC's Jonelle Brown, the 2021 Delaware DSP of the Year, has experienced many challenges in life, including homelessness and loss of family. As a result, she never had the support she needed to earn her driver's license, a lifelong dream of hers. Jonelle knew this about the young lady and knew the young lady was capable of, knew she could help achieve her goals. Together, they began practicing, studying, and when the time came to get her license, Jonelle knew the young woman was ready to ace the exam. However, when she accompanied her to the DMV, they discovered the test was inaccessible to the woman who had a learning disability. Unfazed, Jonelle sprang into action, petitioning the DMV administrators for accommodation that would enable the woman to take the test. She passed with flying colors and now has the freedom to drive around all of Delaware. Congratulations, Jonelle. That's just awesome. Facing significant challenges like these were nothing new for Donald, a gentleman supported by Dungarvin to live independently. But after becoming independent, Donald was facing the possibility of eviction. Luckily, he was supported by Oregon DSP of the Year, Bill Gass. Bill knew Donald didn't want to move into a group home and risk losing his independence, so he worked tirelessly to ensure that didn't happen, collaborating closely with Donald's service coordinator to quickly secure a new apartment. But he didn't stop there. Bill began working with Donald to build new skills such as meal prepping and grocery shopping, and to make sure that he could make healthy meal changes to support his diabetes, or cleaning his home to support, it met the man's very high standards. Thank you, Bill, so much for all you do. So many of these year's nominees proved capable of moving mountains to ensure the inclusion in the community of people they support. But one DSP stood out above the rest, so much so that we created a special new category award. Meet MOSAIC's Emily Yadon, recipient of the very first Community Connector Award. Emily has always been integral in keeping the individuals she supports connected, but that's especially been true during the pandemic. She has set up Zoom accounts for the people she supports, frequently assists them to coordinate Zoom visits with family and friends, make sure they have contact with loved ones, and keeps them connected with new friends. As just one example, Special Olympics in Southeast Kansas has a workout group that meets weekly. And thanks to Emily, the people she supports always participate actively. This has helped them meet new people while also staying healthy, neither of which are easy during a pandemic. Well done, Emily. Congratulations. We appreciate you so much.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rita Wiersma, and I am the CEO of Accord, a community-based provider in the Twin Cities area. Having had the privilege of serving as one of the judges for this year's awards program, I can say it's truly an honor to be here today to recognize the many contributions that this year's class of award recipients. Like Kate mentioned, DSPs know firsthand how important it is for people to be included in the community. But sometimes that means creating a community and having relationships in which you can feel a true sense of belonging. And that has been one of the consistent themes we've seen as we've gotten to know this year's outstanding DSPs. One outstanding example is Gladys McLeod, South Carolina's DSP of the Year, who represents the Mentor Network. One of the women Gladys supports was struggling to maintain relationships with those around her, in part due to anger she was experiencing after having been diagnosed with HIV and not having the support needed to manage her health. Things turned around when she moved into a house Gladys managed, who not only helped her fully understand the significance of her HIV diagnosis, but also coached her to communicate with others in a kinder, more compassionate way. As a result, she now has several friends and a community to call her own. It's no wonder why Gladys's nominator says it warms her heart every time she feels She sees her with one of the women she supports. Congratulations, Gladys. A similar transformation was possible in the life of one of the women supported by Dungarvin's Veronica Hopkins, the 2021 New Mexico DSP of the Year. Veronica realized that if the woman could better manage her sometimes volatile behavior, it would help her achieve two of her longstanding goals, living independently and regaining custody of her children. Veronica showed her ways to calm down and think about what was going on before dealing with those problems. She also assisted her to work on a behavioral chart that tracked her challenging behaviors, enabling her to identify and therefore avoid the triggers that led to the behavior. The outcome has been nothing short of a transformation. Thanks to Veronica's support, the woman started living independently in her own apartment and started having weekend visits with her children. These days, her children are adults with their own kids, and she gets to visit with her kids and grandkids independently and without worry. Veronica, you are amazing. Sometimes behavioral challenges prevent strong relationships from forming. These challenges can be especially pronounced when you add a language barrier into the mix. Fortunately, not even a language barrier can stop Connecticut's DSP of the Year, Rosa Hernandez, from supporting those in her care to build relationships. When a person Rosa supports was having extreme behavioral challenges, Rosa's colleagues at Oak Hill were struggling to come up with a plan with the individual's family members because they spoke another language. Rosa leveraged her fluency in their language to come up with a plan to ensure the behavior subsided and visits with friends and family could resume. As her nomination letter stated, Rosa is eager to assist folks to get to events or go out in the community, to see family or to maintain relationships. And Rosa does whatever it takes to ensure the best possible experience. For that, we appreciate you, Rosa. As with any relationship, it takes a little creativity to make things work. This is something Dungarvin's Tracy Talon, the 2021 Kentucky DSP of the Year, takes to heart. Whether it is following a goal to ensure appropriate phone etiquette or thinking outside the box to utilize Zoom or other avenues of virtual communication, Tracy works with each individual to ensure that they have meaningful relationship and always to keep in touch with others. So much that she even helped one of the women she supports reconnect with a long lost family member. The woman desperately wanted to reconnect with her brother, but didn't know where he lived or how to reach him. With some investigation and collaboration across the support team, Tracy was able to track down a phone number so the woman could finally call her brother, who she missed so dearly. Tracy, you are an inspiration to us all. With that, with the extra heap of creativity has been more essential than ever, given how COVID-19 pandemic has threatened people's ability to connect with friends, family members, or in the case of the Illinois DSP of the Year, Tara Smith from Trinity Services, even a life partner. Tara uses technology to help people maintain their most meaningful relationships. One example is the relationship between someone she supports and their fiance. They couldn't see each other in person due to the pandemic. Tara supported them to go on virtual visits, dates, and spending time with each other as they gazed into each other's eyes, danced with each other's, and talked about their days. Watching this couple connect is touching for everyone involved. But Tara's nomination noted watching her watch them really said it all. Tara is all about connecting people to what is the most meaningful to them. And for that, we are tremendously grateful to Tara. The importance of relationships is perhaps most clearly seen in the work of the Mentor Network's Deb Elam, recipient of this year's Special Category Award for Relationships. Prior to the pandemic, Deb would do seemingly small things like assisting in arranging birthday gatherings for people she serves and working with them to invite their favorite people. But when the pandemic struck, Deb started seeing signs of despair and hopelessness from one of the women she supports. She learned that the woman missed her mom terribly, as she was accustomed to seeing her at least once a month prior to the pandemic. Deb reached out to the woman's mom, talked with the support team, and advocated for a safe plan for a home visit that was acceptable for everyone involved. When the plan was in place, the woman cried. She was so happy that she could spend time with her mom that Deb's nominator received a phone call that very day from the woman, expressing how happy she was to finally have the chance to reconnect with her mom. Deb, all I can say is thank you, and you are incredible.
Hi, my name is Chad Bonanen, and in addition to being the Executive Director for Johnson County Developmental Supports in Lenexa, Kansas, I also serve on ANCOR's Board of Directors. It's my pleasure to be here today to congratulate these professionals who together prove just how essential our workforce truly is. Well before the pandemic popularized the phrase essential worker, I always thought of direct support professionals in these terms, in part because I've always been inspired by their ability to innovate. One mark of an outstanding DSP is their ability to overcome any challenge, circumvent any obstacle in service of the people they support. That kind of outside the box thinking is exactly what made Mary Milton of Rem, Mississippi, the perfect candidate to be this year's Mississippi DSP of the Year. As one example, the women who live in the house Mary manages loved to go out to eat, but when the pandemic hit, that was no longer an option. Mary's attitude, if you can't leave to go to a restaurant, turn your kitchen into a restaurant. Now, she and the women she supports go out each week to find some fine dining right there in their home. As another example, one of the many women Mary supports doesn't have any family members. So when her housemates have their weekly calls with their family members, Mary takes her to her own private nook in the house just to talk about life, giving the woman an opportunity to express herself in a way that she might not otherwise be able to. Mary, you are a role model for us all. Speaking of role models, just wait until you hear about Florida DSP of the Year, Cassandra Joseph from Sunrise Community. Due to the pandemic, the students Cassandra supports who are enrolled in public school suddenly found themselves forced to complete their courses through the virtual education platform. Unfazed, Cassandra took the initiative to learn the new online curriculum and helped one of the students she supports learn how to use the technology he needed to successfully complete classroom assignments online. She ensured that the student was present each school day and that all virtual learning assignments were completed as required. As a result of her dedicated support to the individual, the student was able to continue without interrupted education and advance to the next grade. Way to go, Cassandra. Part of the innovative thinking required of DSPs is the ability to meet people where they are. And that's a lesson we can learn from Adam Sterrett, a DSP from Puget Sound Regional Services and the 2021 Washington DSP of the Year. Adam supports a young man who had a hard time getting out of the house since he loves playing video games. By tapping into two of the man's passions, video games and Pokemon, Adam suggested they start playing Pokemon Go together. Not only would this get him out of the house, but it gave the two of them a chance to bond while also being active. Adam then took it a step further by helping the video game fanatic find a local group at the community center that did weekly Pokemon Go get-togethers before the pandemic. Before long, the man who once preferred to stay at home was insisting on going out and about. Thank you, Adam, for showing us that sometimes it's the smallest things that make the biggest difference. Having a knack for helping people feel comfortable and pushing themselves is also what makes direct support professionals so innovative. It's also what makes Northwest Center's Deborah Tan so deserving of the 2021 Special Category Award for Innovation. As a job coach, the people Deb supports were at an especially high risk of being impacted by the pandemic. But Deb's commitment to them has meant they haven't skipped a beat. One of the people Deb supports folds pizza boxes at a local pizza joint. When the pandemic hit, she went to the employer and picked up pizza boxes so the employee would be able to learn how to fold a new box design and return to work after the shutdown with more skills than even before. Similarly, one of the people Deb supports folds towels at the YMCA. To ensure they were ready to return to work on day one, Deb called the YMCA to get the exact dimensions of the towel they use. And then they found those exact towels and purchased them, paying out of her own pocket. The YMCA employee practices folding the towels with Deb weekly, so that when the gym opens back up, she'll be ready to dive back into action. Thank you, Deb, for your innovation and your inspiration.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Beestrom, and I'm the president and CEO of Koinonia in Independence, Ohio, near Cleveland. I'm also the vice president of the ANCOR Board of Directors, and it's my honor to be here today to help celebrate the 2021 Direct Support Professionals of the Year. As Chad described, one mark of an outstanding DSP is their ability to innovate, to think outside the box in service of the people they support. And when the situation demands it, an excellent DSP will go a step farther to advocate on behalf of the people who rely on them. As MOSAIC's Michelle Vrye, the 2021 Iowa DSP of the Year, can tell you, sometimes that means empowering people to find their own voice. One example is how she does this work in her work with Josh. Having known Josh for years, Michelle knew that sometimes he likes to be the center of attention, but he doesn't always like having the spotlight on him. So when the opportunity arose for Josh to be part of an advocacy group and talk to others about disability services, Josh was hesitant. In response, Michelle encouraged him to try it and see if he liked it. And if he didn't, he wouldn't have to continue. Because of Michelle's words of affirmation, he did enjoy it and has since built positive connections. He continues to give speeches and participate in the program, which has not only been a great confidence booster for him, it has also provided him with additional income. Congratulations on your achievement, Michelle. In other instances, being an outstanding DSP means advocating on behalf of those who struggle to find their voice. Take it from this year's Alabama DSP of the Year, Alice Jones from BRIGHTSPRING Health Services. The home where Alice works recently welcomed a new individual who was exhibiting some challenging behaviors, including banging his head and other self-injurious behaviors. Alice knew that these behaviors were due to the stresses in the man's life and immediately stepped up to the plate to ensure that he could express himself in a healthier way. It didn't take long for Alice to work her magic and use her years of experience to assist the individual with becoming acclimated to his new home. Now, just a few months later, the man loves his new home, his housemates, and most especially, Miss Alice. Thank you for your advocacy, Miss Alice. The stresses in life that can lead to unhealthy behaviors have no doubt been amplified by the pandemic, but COVID-19 has been no match for Dungarvin's Antonio Powell-Fields, the 2021 New Jersey DSP of the Year. Antonio has advocated for an individual who began displaying several behaviors after COVID shut down one of his favorite places, the YMCA, as well as several parks in the area. Antonio was creative and decided to bring the YMCA to this individual's home. He advocated for a swing set and additional outdoor furniture to be purchased. Antonio also knew that the man missed going to the pool, but knew he couldn't build a pool in the backyard, so purchased sprinklers and an outdoor water slide instead. Antonio set up the backyard as if it were the YMCA, which not only brought so much joy to the man and his roommates, but also helped minimize several unhealthy behaviors. It's no wonder Antonio's colleagues say he is known for his patience and compassion for the people he serves. Way to go, Antonio. This year's honorees demonstrate all that is possible if only people have an advocate in their corner. That seems to be the philosophy driving Patrice Russum, the 2021 Nevada DSP of the Year. One of the men Patrice supports had a plan in place to decrease the frequency of challenging behaviors, but the man simply wasn't making much progress. No matter for Patrice, who took it upon herself to work closely with the man's behaviorist to come up with a solution that would improve the quality of his life. Together, they worked on developing a calendar, which served both as a visual reminder, but also as a way of offering greater rewards for longer periods of improved behavior. Setting up this plan took a lot of work, including advocating with the state of Nevada. But thanks to Patrice's advocacy, the state agreed to include this in the man support plan and funded the associated rewards. The result has been significant improvement for the man, who is now a lot happier. As Patrice's nominator shared, this is one example among many of why Patrice is a phenomenal advocate for the people she supports. Thank you, Patrice. Having a strong advocate can make all the difference when it comes to a person's behavioral health, of course, but it can also make them physically healthier. This was the case for the man supported by Dungarvin's Shana Morris, the 2021 DSP of the Year from Oklahoma. Shana was concerned about his sleeping pattern. She would have to rotate him from side to side during the night, which would interrupt his sleeping pattern and cause him to lay awake at night and then fall asleep during the day. Shana did extensive research on potential solutions and landed on a mattress that would automatically turn the man from side to side in the middle of the night in a non-disruptive way. Despite having found a solution, she was concerned that the man wouldn't be able to afford the mattress on his own. But instead of finding a cheaper mattress that might not have met his needs, she helped the man afford the mattress by making a generous cash loan to complete the transaction. Shana, we are blown away by your commitment. Congratulations. Finally, we've seen the importance of advocacy to the ability of people to be included in the community, in part due to the outstanding work of Anna McLeod, the 2021 DSP of the Year from my home state of Ohio. Anna works at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital Medical Center, where one of the women she supports also has a job stocking exam rooms. However, the woman was having performance issues and was receiving warnings for things like being on the phone too much or wearing her earbuds on the floor. Rather than simply telling the woman why she needed to stop those behaviors, Anna dug deeper to see if the reason she was disengaged was because she wasn't happy at work. Because Anna asked the right questions, she learned that the woman was bored and wanted to change. As a result, Anna is now helping the woman maintain her current job, while at the same time helping her to explore the possibility of moving to a job in childcare, something the woman has long dreamed of. Not only is the woman happy about her future job prospects, but she's happier in her current job as well. Way to go, Anna.
If advocacy is about DSPs lending their voice to ensure the needs of the people they support are met, then person-centeredness is about encouraging people to pursue their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. And so many of the 2021 DSPs of the Year honorees have delivered exceptional support that empowers people to set and obtain goals on the path toward those dreams. Tennessee DSP of the Year, Kathy Bunch, from Emory Valley Center, understands that person-centeredness is sometimes about the little things. One of the men Kathy supports had all kinds of goals. He wanted to maintain a clean and organized home, decorate extensively for the holidays, have pets, cook for himself, do his laundry, and so much more. Only problem? He wasn't achieving much on his own. Luckily, Kathy's patience and persistence means the gentleman is doing all of the above and more. For each, she helped break down big, lofty goals into small and more manageable chunks and taught him to master each step along the way. Some of these steps took months, but Kathy knew that once he felt confident in his abilities to set, pursue, and achieve a goal, he'd find himself that much closer to living his dreams. Way to go, Kathy. This same patience and persistence drives MOSAIC's Teresa Vaughn, the 2021 Nebraska DSP of the Year. One of the gentlemen Teresa supports wanted to learn to drive. Rather than snuffing that dream, Teresa started working on the skills needed to pass his written test. The fact that he's well on his way to passing his test and earning his driver's license isn't just about personal freedom, though. With his license, he'll be better positioned to take advantage of employment opportunities in integrated settings in the community, all thanks to Teresa's support. It's no wonder her colleagues say Teresa embodies the quote, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, become more, you are a leader." Congratulations, Teresa, for being a leader. So often, person-centeredness is the linchpin to people's ability to be included in the community. And that's something California DSP of the Year, Joseph Samuel, takes to heart. One of the individuals Joseph supports on behalf of Dungarvin was getting ready to apply for jobs when the pandemic struck, and he had a goal of participating in interviews for prospective DSPs so he could glean a sense of how interviews worked. Since the man Joseph supports hasn't been able to participate in any of these interviews due to COVID, Joseph has continued working with him on his goal by creating interview scenarios to practice and helping him research appropriate and relevant questions during an interview. Joseph, your commitment is inspiring. While person-centeredness can be about community inclusion, it can also be about a place to call home, whether that's an apartment, a house, or even a farm. Minnesota DSP of the Year, Levi Caddy, learned that lesson when one of the men he supports in his role at Dungarvin had a goal of owning and caring for animals. The son of farmers, the gentleman wanted to raise goats, chickens, and cats. These skills weren't exactly in Levi's wheelhouse, and that didn't stop him. Levi helped the man he supports build those skills by developing those skills himself. He helped him design and build multiple chicken coops and even a catio, a patio for cats. In just a year and a half, the man is already raising 3 cats and about 24 chickens, with sheep and goats on the horizon soon. Levi, you are the epitome of dedication and creativity. To understand the importance of dedication and creativity and supporting people to achieve their goals, look no further than Gene Blair Jr. from Whole Life Services, the 2021 Pennsylvania DSP of the Year. Gino, as he's known, is all about turning the mundane into something amazing. He took a small videotaping project that started a couple of years ago and turned it into a respected and sought after production company named Get to Work Productions. It all began when Gino used a sportscaster's cue cards as a method to help an individual achieve a goal in recognizing sight words. He then got the other people he supported involved. People achieved communication goals by conducting interviews. They learned vocabulary and writing by serving as copy editors, and they worked on social norms by becoming production assistants and remaining quiet on the set. Within a few months, Gino had an entire crew who were exceeding goals and ready to take on new ones. Gino, you are incredible. Each of these DSP efforts to center the people they support in the process of setting and achieving goals is inspiring, but one truly takes the cake. St. Louis ARC's Samantha McNeil is the 2021 recipient of the Special Category Award for Person-Centeredness. And once you get to know her, it won't be hard to see why. Because of the pandemic, many of St. Louis ARC's program activities were moved to a virtual format. Prior to scheduling her Zoom classes, Samantha takes time to go through each person's individual support plan to identify which classes may help them meet their goals. She also includes the people she supports in the process of planning courses they would enjoy. For example, she helped Chip, who had a goal to participate in a talent show, plan and execute a virtual show for the community engagement program. Another gentleman she supports wanted to learn woodworking and build his own giant Jenga game. So Samantha reached out to a coworker with woodworking skills to help the gentleman craft and build his game from scratch. Other individuals had goals of staying active, so Samantha hosted various yoga and exercise classes, both virtually and in person. We could name example after example of how Samantha has met the demands of this moment. But to suffice to say, you exemplify what it means to be truly person-centered. Thank you and congratulations, Samantha.
Supporting people to set and achieve their goals is a key to broader purpose for this year's honorees. Ensuring the mental health and well-being of the people they support, so many of the 2021 DSPs of the year stood out for the extensive lengths that they were willing to go as the people they support pursued their own mental wellness, especially during such a challenging year. Rhode Island DSP of the Year, Ramada Akitamine from Community Living of Rhode Island, has exhibited incredible passion for achieving health for the whole person. One example can be seen in her advocacy on behalf of a woman she supports who has worked as a receptionist for the same organization for more than 2 decades. But her more recent experiences with depression were threatening her job. Like many people experiencing depression, the woman had difficulty waking up on time in the morning, taking care of her hygiene, and maintaining healthy and professional relationships with her coworkers. But Ramada never gave up on her. She found outside the box ways to help her get out of bed in the morning, such as by preparing her favorite foods for breakfast and helping her dress for success. As her colleagues note, Ramada has a knack for finding the right button to push, and the people she supports are better off as a result. Thank you, Ramada. Another outstanding DSP who knows the right buttons to push is VistaCare's Megan Erickson, the 2021 South Dakota DSP of the Year. Recently, someone Megan supports was struggling with negative behaviors, but those behaviors were no match for Megan's creativity. Megan got to work supporting the individual to set a daily schedule that would help keep her focused and provide purpose throughout the day. The schedule had positive reinforcements built into it, which helped Megan guide the individual to stay focused on carrying out her day. With Megan around, the woman has many more good days than bad ones because of her encouragement and positive attitude. Megan, please know how much your work is appreciated. Of course, a healthy mind is supported when it's at home in a healthy body, and the 2021 DSP of the Year award recipients know just how important it is to help people focus on their physical well-being too. Take it from Missouri DSP of the Year, Natasha Archie. One of the men Natasha supports on behalf of Emmaus Homes had a goal related to exercise and wellness, a goal which might have gone off track due to the pandemic if not for Natasha. With the Man's Day program and most other businesses shut down, Natasha found ways to keep him exercising, helped set up a home gym complete with a treadmill, exercise bike, and elliptical. He now works out at home with his housemates and sometimes even with other Emmaus staff. Natasha also supported him to find ways to exercise outdoors, whether walking in a park, playing kickball with a few friends, or even raking 15 bags of leaves. The man is healthier thanks to Natasha's commitment. Way to go, Natasha. We have no doubt that Natasha would become fast friends with Louisiana Direct Support Professional of the Year, Sharon Moses, from Volunteers of America, Southeast Louisiana. Sharon supports someone who had a goal of becoming more fit, but didn't always have the motivation to get active. Sharon knew that trying to persuade the man to go to the gym for his own benefit wouldn't work, so she got a little innovative. She invited him along to accompany her during her workouts. Thinking he was doing her a favor, he started working out on his own during their outings to the gym. Now, he's even started walking with her in the park and is doing a better job maintaining a healthy weight. Some may call it sneaky, but for Sharon, it's all about meeting people where they are. Congratulations, Sharon. Meeting people where they are is the name of the game for Cindy Baruby, the 2021 Maine DSP of the Year from John F. Murphy Homes. The people Cindy supports plan their calendars each month, and one activity they like to fill in is fitness. Cindy helped them connect with Luke, the owner of an outdoor gym called Wolfpack Fitness, where Cindy supports the individuals to be prepared, follow directions, give good effort, and have positive communication. The physical benefits of going to Wolfpack are wonderful, but the relationships that Cindy has helped the individuals foster with Luke goes above and beyond. Several of the people Cindy supports love wrestling, and Luke just happens to be a wrestler. After working with them for a while, Luke decided he wanted to enlist their help to host a wrestling benefit, which Cindy enthusiastically supported. These and so many other experiences make Cindy so grateful that both she and Luke can be part of the gang's wolf pack. Cindy, you are truly inspiring.
So like Chad said, ensuring the physical and mental health and well-being of the people we support is core to any DSP's job, but never before has the ability to do so been tested like it's been in the past year due to the COVID-19 crisis. Therefore, we wanted to take a few minutes to recognize the important accomplishments of a few of this year's honorees who have gone above and beyond in response to the pandemic. There are people like Karimu Nagabu from BRIGHTSPRING Health Services, the 2021 Arizona DSP of the Year. Karimu was one of the first staff at his location to step in when the individuals he served all test positive for COVID. Without being asked, he jumped right in, working overtime and weekends to ensure people continued receiving the quality supports they rely on. During the 14-day quarantine period, he continuously checked on all 3 of the people who had tested positive and ensured they had whatever they needed. He showed these individuals just how important they are to him, to BRIGHTSPRING, and to all of us. Our very, very deepest gratitudes to you, Karimu, for your dedication. We appreciate you. We all know there have been times when keeping people safe from COVID-19 required extreme measures. But in the face of crisis, Maryland DSP of the Year, Tommy Sharrow, didn't bat an eye. Last April, multiple people supported by Aspire, Living and Learning, who lived in the same home, were diagnosed with COVID-19. Without question, Tommy agreed to quarantine with them in their home, sleeping on an air mattress in the basement for 2 weeks. Tommy knew he could leave, but he wanted the people he supported to have care that was consistent and familiar to them. He felt if he was in the home, he could keep them safe and available if someone's conditions worsened. He also worked hard to ensure that despite the closure of day programs, the individuals in the home were engaged in meaningful activities, such as listening to their favorite Michael Jackson music, watching their favorite movies, and playing games together in the backyard. Tommy, we have no doubt that your work will leave a lasting impact for the people you support. Thank you so very much. Tommy was just one among many DSPs whose work and home life were turned upside down by the pandemic. 2021 Massachusetts DSP of the Year Award, James Scott, had a similar experience last year, which happened to coincide with his 30th year at his agency, New England Village. When COVID-19 shut down the program where Jim normally works, he was deployed to work as a DSP in our residential program, a call he heeded without hesitation. Jim then went a step further by volunteering to isolate at a local hotel when not working so that he could be available in the event someone tested positive for the coronavirus and needed a DSP to quarantine with them in their home. That possibility became a reality last April in 2 homes where Jim was called to quarantine for a total of 26 days. Never one to shy away from hardship, Jim spent 2.5 days at home before turning right back around and heading back to the hotel so he could be ready to serve wherever he needed. Jim, we're in awe of your commitment to the safety and health of the people you support. Thank you so much. One of the most challenging tasks wrought by the epidemic is the need to isolate people from the virus without isolating them from their communities. Luckily, New York DSP of the Year, Niso Shea from Cardinal McCloskey Community Services understood the risk of isolation early on. One of the early people Niso supports typically participates in an activity in the community that involves maintaining a community garden. This man became upset that he could not be able to maintain his community garden due to restrictions put in place by state and local authorities. Understanding the man's frustration, but refusing to allow him to be exposed to the coronavirus, Nisho worked with the man to build a garden in his backyard and then assisted and encouraged him to maintain it. The man was very, very happy with this alternative, which helped maintain a sense of normalcy during a very difficult time. We love your creativity, Nisho. Thank you again so much. Finally, responding to COVID-19 has reminded us that among the many hats DSPs wear, it is far from an exaggeration to say DSPs are lifesavers. We were reminded of this fact when we learned about Elaine Phillips, the 2021 Texas DSP of the Year from BRIGHTSPRING Health Services. When someone BRIGHTSPRING supports tested positive for COVID-19, Elaine volunteered to work in their home as a live-in staff member, where she isolated with the people she supported for 14 days. Her upbeat attitude helped everyone keep calm, but it couldn't help prevent the spread of the virus. Unfortunately, all 4 of the people supported in the home where Elaine was quarantined tested positive, and 1 required hospitalization. When that person was released from the hospital, their situation deteriorated quickly. Luckily, because Elaine is so attuned to the needs and behaviors of the folks she supports, she realized right away that something was wrong. She called 911 and her supervisors and insisted that the individual be readmitted to the hospital. We don't want to think about what might have happened had Elaine not been there, but we can certainly say she is a lifesaver. Congratulations, Elaine, and thank you so much from all of us.
We often say that DSPs can do it all, and the work these DSPs have done to support people through the pandemic is a testament to the many skills and talents of this invaluable workforce. However, no matter how talented the DSP, we simply cannot always isolate people from experiencing times of immense difficulty and profound loss. In these instances, DSPs step up to support people through some of their most difficult times. From severe illness to providing end-of-life care, we would be remiss if we didn't take a moment to honor the contributions of these DSPs. One such contribution was that of Tamara Carter, the 2021 Georgia DSP of the Year from RHA Health Services. When one of the men she supported became ill, she took him to 2 different healthcare facilities to test for COVID-19. In both cases, his test came back negative, and doctors weren't fully understanding his symptoms given that the man didn't speak English. Tamara knew better and knew that despite what the medical professionals were telling her, he needed to see a specialist. Unrelenting, Tamara refused to leave the hospital, and when they finally saw a specialist, the man was indeed found to have COVID on his 3rd test and needed to be admitted to the hospital. Though it took time, the man eventually made a full recovery. But what stood out to us as we got to know Tamara was that she fought so hard on the man's behalf, all the while her own mother was fighting COVID-19 in a different hospital, a battle she ultimately lost. Tamara, we are so sorry to hear about the loss of your mother, but we know that her spirit lives on in the life of the man you saved. You are truly an inspiration. Knowing the immense grief people sometimes have to experience makes us grateful for Dungarvin's Connie Healy, the 2021 Colorado DSP of the Year. Unfortunately, last May, someone supported by Connie's agency for a long time passed away unexpectedly. His girlfriend, however, was not aware he had passed. Connie was concerned she would hear of her boyfriend's passing through the grapevine, so she went to her home at 11 p.m. that night to share the sad news and sit with her. Connie stayed there through the night so she could be there the next morning to console her, and constantly checked in during the days and weeks that followed. Connie provided the woman with extra support that she needed during her difficult time, including delivering her food, helping her clean, and just sitting and talking to comfort her. Connie, we hate that you and your family had to suffer that loss, but we're so grateful that you were there to console the man's girlfriend. You may never truly know what an incredible difference you make in people's lives. That level of comfort and care is perhaps never more important than at the end of someone's life, a lesson that Wisconsin DSP of the Year, Gabby Mayer, had to learn the hard way last year. Two of the people supported by BRIGHTSPRING Health Services were in their end-of-life stages. One of these people was diagnosed with an invasive tumor that required a significant amount of planning and treatment. Gabby was involved in every step of the way, attending several medical appointments and procedures and researching everything they needed to know. When the decision was made that it wouldn't be safe to complete the 2 surgeries required to remove the tumor, the man's family decided to create a comfort care plan for his final days. Gabby was right by his side every day with every attempt to do everything she could to help him enjoy the time he had left. They did daily activities, including exercising, dancing, listening to music, seeing friends, and making sure he had the best food. Gabby made sure he was living his life to the fullest during his last days. Gabby, you are truly extraordinary, and we are in awe of your compassion and dedication. Unfortunately, Gabby isn't alone in experiencing the loss of one of the people she supports. The 2021 Virginia DSP of the Year, Tracy Jones from Hope House Foundation, also supported someone in her final stages of life. The woman, Charlotte, was 78 and had just been diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. With the support of a local hospice agency, the Hope House Foundation's agency staff, Tracy played a crucial role in providing compassionate care in an extremely emotional situation. As her nomination letter states, Tracy is to be commended for how she stepped up at this challenging time to be a constant support to Charlotte. Tracy showed admirable strength and true compassion at Charlotte's bedside. The end was not easy. Charlotte died only 7 weeks after the initial ovarian cancer diagnosis on September 30th, 2020. Tracy, we can't imagine how difficult that experience was for you, but we hope you fully appreciate just how important a role you played for Charlotte and her family at such a difficult time. Thank you.
As Diane mentioned, DSPs support people with intellectual and developmental disabilities through some of the darkest times in their lives. But as true servant leaders, DSPs don't just support people with disabilities, they support one another. And this year, we have been incredibly inspired by how DSPs have stepped up to be there for one another throughout this past year. That's one of the reasons that our colleagues insisted on nominating Erlen Jackson, the 2021 Michigan DSP of the Year from BRIGHTSPRING Health Services. Erlen is known as the go-to person in the program where she works. She goes the extra mile to help all of her coworkers, picking up extra shifts when the house is short-staffed. Her team members report that she is always willing to help get the work done, no matter what it takes. Erlen is always willing to take new staff members under her wing and helps guide those around her as much as she can, because she knows that when the team is doing well, everyone benefits. As she likes to say, I won't leave you hanging. And for that, we appreciate you, Erlen. Another outstanding DSP who won't leave anyone hanging is 2021 New Hampshire DSP of the Year, Ann Stone-Doyon from Aspire Living and Learning. Ann endeavors to make whatever she does a positive experience for everyone around her, and she is always engaged. Ann helps her fellow DSPs however she can. For example, one of Ann's peers was struggling with writing her daily documentation. Ann took the time to help her fellow DSP understand what information to include and how to complete the form, enabling her colleague to improve her performance. Ann also readily volunteers wherever help is needed, whether it's building a master schedule, leading classes in our virtual services, or supporting a new individual as they adjust to their new surroundings. She is regarded as a leader by all who work with her, and your leadership inspires us. If leadership is all about stepping up to help those around you succeed, then we can all stand to learn a thing or two from Lindsay Barrett, the 2021 Vermont DSP of the Year from Green Mountain Support Services. As hard as COVID-19 lockdowns were for all of us, Lindsay saw it as her time to shine. Even though all Green Mountain employees are provided a laptop, many of Lindsay's coworkers were struggling to get used to them, especially when they all began working from home. Lindsay lent her computer expertise to any employee who needed help, whether it was accessing files, using Zoom, or anything else. She also facilitated 21 different Zoom classes each week in the earliest days of the pandemic, which included bingo, yoga, dancing, karaoke, and more. She leads the peer-to-peer support network, recently joined the Green Mountain Toastmasters branch of Toastmasters International for her own personal growth, and played a vital role in the success of Green Mountain's first ever virtual New England Cerebral Palsy Conference in October. Lindsay, we don't know where we'd be without you. So this next award is one I'm particularly proud to present. It is my honor to recognize one of my own colleagues, Johnson County Developmental Support's Mindy Nelson, the 2021 DSP of the Year from the state of Kansas. Mindy has provided outstanding leadership as a representative for the Day Employment Services on a project team that is working on the launch of our new electronic health record system. This is a significant project, and to it, Mindy has contributed her unique talent of being able to synthesize a tremendous amount of technical information and communicate with others outside of the project team in a way that helps them understand how the new system can meet their programmatic needs and improve their current ways of working. She gathers feedback from those who will be direct users and listens to their concerns. She's always patient with the steep learning curve involved, and her colleagues are grateful for her dedication to improving their systems. Mindy, the entire ANCOR community is proud of you, but I'm willing to bet that no one is more honored than me to be able to recognize your work. Thank you for all you do for our community. This year's class of honorees has exhibited leadership in a wide range of ways, not just stepping up to help their colleagues. One DSP who reminds us that leadership comes in many forms is the Mentor Network's Tracy Longwell, the 2021 West Virginia DSP of the Year. Tracy does not look like she is leading others. She jumps in and starts filling whatever she sees. For example, in one of the homes operated by REM West Virginia, they were purchasing new outdoor furniture. The people supporting that home couldn't all go along to pick out the furniture, but Tracy felt strongly that they all should have a say. It's their home, after all. So when Tracy was at the store, she took pictures of the furniture, allowed everyone to vote, and then purchased the set they chose. As if that weren't enough, she then went to the pillow bin to find options that would go with their new set, described how they felt, and got everyone's input on the pillows too. For Tracy, it was no big deal, but for the people she supports, it meant they truly had a voice and a choice. Tracy, thank you for inspiring us. Finally, I'm thrilled to present the 2021 Special Category Award for Leadership to Generosa Joyner from Aspire Living and Learning. Jenny, as she's known, takes it upon herself to coach and mold fellow staff into caring and compassionate people. She will be the first to speak up at meetings to voice concerns about the needs of the people she supports, the training needs of her coworkers, and ways to improve teamwork within the home. Several times this past year, Jenny has taken the lead in voicing medical concerns regarding the people she supports. She's been able to actively catch medical issues when they're relatively minor before they become larger concerns or even possibly leading to hospitalization. For instance, one individual Jenny supports suffers from random seizures due to urinary tract infections. She has been proactive in monitoring and teaching other staff how to look for signs at the beginning of an infection. This has helped catch a number of infections at their start, which enabled the individual to avoid being hospitalized. Jenny, thank you for your leadership and congratulations.
Before I turn things over to Diane to present the 2021 National Direct Support Professional of the Year, there's one other award we need to present. This is an award I'm beyond humbled to be able to present, but one that I wish I didn't need to present. ANCOR presents the 2021 Indiana Direct Support Professional of the Year Award to Arnold Dubé from Dungarvin. Unfortunately, however, we do so posthumously, as Arnold passed away at the end of May last year due to complications from COVID-19. Earlier that month, one of the individuals at his home tested positive for COVID-19. Knowing that many of his colleagues had expressed concern about working with COVID positive individuals, Arnold contacted all of his coworkers, discussing measures they could take as a team to ensure the safety of each other and the people they support. He demonstrated how to ensure masks fit properly, trained other DSPs about the differences between various types of masks, and ensured every member of the staff had appropriate PPE. Arnold taught them proper hand washing skills, and perhaps most importantly, he demonstrated strength and compassion with his coworkers in understanding their fears about the virus. When one of Arnold's coworkers was too frightened to work due to the fear of contracting COVID, Arnold stepped in, putting the needs of the individual's Dungarvin supports above all else. Unfortunately, despite all of his efforts to protect himself, Arnold contracted the virus. Even as he laid in the hospital, Arnold was not concerned about his own health, but continuously asked about how the individuals he worked with were doing. Eventually, Arnold could not defeat the virus and passed away on May 11th, 2020 at the age of 48. Arnold leaves behind his wife, Mary, his wife of 23 years, as well as two children, their daughter, Sithembele, a student at Central Michigan University, and their son, Dumasami, who is in high school. Arnold will be remembered by his colleagues as a quiet leader who had compassion for the individuals he worked with, as well as his coworkers. His passing deeply affected everyone that knew him as a leader, a person, and a coworker. In Arnold's honor, we have presented this honor to his wife, Mary. To you, Mary, we're so sorry for your loss and cannot imagine the grief that you and your family have experienced. We know that no words can take away the loss of your beloved husband, but we hope you always remember that he died doing what he loved, living with compassion, so that others could continue their journeys through life. On behalf of the entire ANCOR community, we honor you, your husband, and the legacy he leaves behind.
Now, on a much happier note, it is my pleasure to bring us the moment we have all been waiting for. I'm humbled to introduce to you the 2021 National Direct Support Professional of the Year, William Pate from Dungarvin in Indiana. Perhaps more than anything, what stood out to us about Will's nomination is his ability to see in the people he supports what others could not, what even their own families could not see. Will supports a young man named Caleb, who his family noted during the intake process was unable to communicate, feed himself, use the bathroom by himself, or ride in a vehicle due to extremely aggressive behaviors. When Will first met Caleb, he reached out to the family to discuss strategies they had used in the past to assist Caleb in becoming more independent. Will then worked with Caleb's team to develop a teaching method for each goal. Slowly but surely, Caleb began doing what his family once thought was impossible. When Caleb began to find success in reaching his goals, Will wanted to make sure his family knew of each and every one. While Will knew that his praise seemed important to Caleb, he also knew how important it would be for Caleb to receive praise from his family. So Will took pictures and videos of Caleb's progress every week. He would send them to Caleb's family so they could watch his progress. The images showed Caleb assisting with meal prep, stirring soup, helping make a sandwich, and then feeding himself the food he helped to prepare. He would also snap a picture of Caleb riding in a car, looking out the window and smiling. Will's communication with Caleb's parents, his brother, and his grandparents encouraged his family to visit more so they could see for themselves how much Caleb was changing and how he was learning to be more independent. Because Caleb has become more independent, he's now able to go out with his grandparents for rides in the car, go out to eat, or enjoy a trip to their house for a visit. His grandparents have written letters expressing that they feel they can connect with Caleb, and that Caleb's success has given them confidence to enjoy spending time with their grandson again. They have also expressed how grateful they are that Caleb has Will in his life. The more we learned about Will, the more we learned that his commitment to others and his servant's heart extends well beyond his relationship with Caleb. Will is the father of 4 and has been working to support individuals with disabilities for most of his adult life. 3 of his children are now in college, and he is raising his 14-year-old daughter on his own. He regularly volunteers with his church and an organization called Feed the Need, which helps those who are less fortunate. He cooks meals and gathers items from his community, such as clothing, winter coats, and other necessities to help his neighbors in need. He also mentors young men in his community by teaching them skills to find a job, and takes time to coach youth sports for at-risk boys and girls and mentors them along the way. As Will's nomination letter explained, he is truly a role model for the next generation. Will, we are inspired by your drive to not only improve the lives of people like Caleb, but the lives of everyone around you. And we are honored to call you a member of the ANCOR family. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you ANCOR's 2021 National Direct Support Professional of the Year, William Pate.
Hello, everyone. I would like to thank everyone who put themselves in position to award me this award. It's very humbling. I would like to thank God. I would like to thank my kids. And I would like to dedicate this award to my great-grandmother, Betty McDaniel, who suffered from mental illness all my life as a kid. And I dealt with it. And sometimes it was very hard, but she was very misunderstood. And first off, I'd like to talk about this world that I work in. It's a very humbling world when you deal with individuals who live the life that they live and need the help that they need. And I've been blessed to work with some very good guys, such as Caleb, Charles, Connor, and Tyler. And I would like to thank Ms. Deb and Hailey Perkle for, putting me in position to get this award and having the belief that I deserve this award. It means a very lot to me. And it's just, I would never would have believed this or thought this in all my life. I've never worked in this field before. I've studied in human services, which is what my degree is in. And it's just been a very humbling experience. And Caleb is one of my most, treasured individuals because he's autistic. He had a hard life growing up. And when he was brought to me, he couldn't do pretty much anything on his own. And now Caleb is living a fulfilling life. He gets to go home on the weekends with his dad. He gets to be out in the community. He gets to experience life as a normal person. And I always tell people, when you get frustrated with Caleb or he does things, that may drive you wild, put yourself in Caleb's shoes for a couple minutes. And I guarantee you, you'll have a different aspect on life. This ANCOR award means a lot to me. I want to show my kids that their father, could stand on something one day and make something good of his name. And it means the world to me to be in this field and to be able to help people every day and to see the changes and the inspiration you give guys who may have had staff that did not do that for them or bring that out of them. But it's truly a humbling experience. Not in a million years would I think I would have won this award. It is just beyond me to be judged by your peers in this way. And I just can't express how much I am just over exuberated in winning this award. And working in this field has just opened my eyes to so many things in the mental illness world and the community, which in my community, the Black community, there's a big stigma on mental health. And guys like me are out here making a different change in that. And I just wish my great-grandmother could see me now and see what I've done and how much this award means so much to me to win it for what I'm doing in this field. And being a DSP is a wonderful feeling to wake up in the morning and go do something that you love to do. And I just want to thank everyone for this award very much. Thank you.